I don't think it's ever a good thing to have this type of headline in any election year. Seriously, look at this. The DNC puts up its headquarters as collateral to obtain its massive loan. Yeah, we're not even 4 months away from election day, and the Democrat Party, they are so broke, they can't fundraise anything worth a damn. They are so desperate that they have put up their own HQ as collateral, not just for a tiny loan, but a massive loan just to help pay off some of their current debts. You can't make this up. It is so bad. It is the biggest loan they've apparently ever taken, and it gets worse by the day. It seems like every other day we hear more bad financial news for Democrats. They can't fundraise, they have no money on hand. Yeah, they have a couple candidates here and there, like James Telrico and John Ossoff. They could raise some money, but at the end of the day, the main apparatus for the Democrat Party, which is still absolutely important for Democrats to win elections, yeah, right now, they can't raise anything. And it's just getting worse by the day. The DNC put up its physical HQ up for collateral last year in order to obtain a $15 million line of credit to help invest in off year elections, according to DC deed records not previously reported. And what's noteworthy about this is even though they have $15 million in credit, that all that does is pay off their previous debts. You can't make this up. There's so much debt that even though they got $15 million to invest in this election, they can't even do that. That money just immediately vanishes because they're in so much debt. They have to just keep paying off their current debt they have. And their solution is get more loans, put up more stuff for collateral. It's just, really? You can't fundraise even 1% better or 5% better just to obtain a bit more money? It's so bad, they had to pull this stunt. The building located in Southeast Washington and partially owned by the DNC has been used as collateral in the past, including in other election cycles. So yeah, they've done the stunt in the past. But what's crazy about this is there's, again, not just a tiny amount of money, like, oh, it's just $1 million and that's it. They're like $20 million in debt, and they have to obtain $15 million. And you have to assume a large chunk of that is just going back into paying off the debts. That the DNC had to do so again ahead of the 26 election to obtain its biggest ever off-year loan raised concerns among some members that it was further evidence of an intensifying financial strain. And that's the issue. Again, it's not $1 million, $15 million when they're already $20 million in debt, if not more at this point. And it's just a black hole. The money just keeps vanishing every time they do this. It further escalates their debt. It gets worse every time they do this. And this is the biggest they've taken so far, $15 million. I know in the grand scheme of politics, 15 million might not seem like a lot, but when you factor in, hey, they're 20 million in debt, that is a horrendous combination. The DNC did not explicitly declare the building as its collateral in its monthly or loan-related filings to the FEC. So wait a minute, did they screw up the basic filing to cover this up? Like, oh, we gotta cover this up, we cannot talk about it, because even they know this is a bad look. Yeah, we're 20 million in debt, and instead of trying to size down and try to figure it out a normal way, just get more loans, just get 15 million more dollars. What's the worst that can happen? Ken Martin gaslighting us about the DNC's finances and not being transparent about the financial situation makes us doubt if he can oversee the DNC during the most important primary of our lifetime, said a DNC member. Man, doesn't it sound like the DNC is very confident in Ken Martin? It sounds like everyone's stunned, like, wait, huh? Another $15 million? We have to pay off another loan? Seriously? This does not sound like the Democrat Party was expecting this. They're stunned. They were expecting Ken Martin to raise tens of millions of dollars at the bare minimum, get the Democrat Party out of debt. But apparently, he can't even do that. The DNC is working towards two main goals: to help the party win back control of Congress in November, as well as gubernatorial local elections across the country. and it's also preparing for the 28 presidential primary, which is expected to be wide open and have no clear frontrunner. So their strategy is continue to take on more debt. Another 15 million, another 20 million in debt. What's the worst that could happen? This is bad. Like, this is horrendous. But they're still doing this. At some point, somebody had to say, this isn't right. Maybe we should try to change something. But no, they keep tripling down, digging a deeper hole for themselves, and you end up with this mess. Those objectives have been complicated by the DNC's current lack of money. Federal disclosures from June showed it only had about $16 million in its account and $18 million in debt. That's a sobering amount of money compared to the RNC, which declared that it had $128 million in cash with no outstanding debts. And that's the difference. The problem is not the Democrats are getting outraised. They're just so much debt. So your strategy is keep on piling up more debt. That's the difference here. Yes, they have 16 million in its account, but when you're 18 million in debt, it doesn't matter. You're still 18 million in debt. You're in the red. And the Republican Party, meanwhile, they have no debts, have $128 million just sitting there, not including MAGA Inc., not including these other groups. And that's the issue here. If they weren't in debt, it would still be a problem, but it wouldn't be DEFCON 1. The fact we are in July and they're still this much in debt, despite doing all this crazy stuff, how is that even possible? You're telling me not one big donor gave you anything? Anything of note? Seriously? This is not new. Senate DNC official in a statement about the party used the building as collateral. The loan documents were publicly released in November, and the DNC's building was also used as collateral in our prior lines of credit in 2019, 2018, 2014, and many other years. Here's the issue. That's not a good thing. Okay, you've done it before. Okay. How is that a good thing? Yeah, we've done this 100 times before, but therefore it's a good thing. No, that means you guys suck, are incompetent, have no clue what you're doing, and you continue to burn through tens of millions of dollars on what? Seriously, what have you spent any of this money on? Oh, I know, paying off previous debts. It's an endless cycle. That's why the Democrat Party, their financial situation is even worse than being reported on. And the fact this is their biggest line of credit so far, 15 million, and they're still in debt? How is that even possible? That's why this is stunning. If this was like $1 million and you had no debt, no one would really care. But it's 15 million and you still have all this debt just sitting there. Another Democrat close to the DNC said Ken Martin has struggled to convince donors to maximize their contributions, which has contributed to the small cash in hand total. So they're not even fundraising. Oh my gosh. So their strategy, instead of fixing the fundraising aspect, is just take on more debt. What's the worst that can happen? Seriously, this is a problem right here. They're not only in a lot of debt, there is nothing positive out of any of this. Seriously, what have they gained from being in this much debt? Nothing. And their excuses suck. Like, their excuses are, we've done this before, therefore it's a good thing. Yeah, we just got to keep adding on more debt. It is insane that this is actually real. I don't know how Ken Martin survives this. If Democrats underperform in 26, he's gone. But the issue is, the party is such a mess right now financially. Nobody wants to give a dime to these people. Who could possibly fix this fundraising situation for the Democrats? Seriously, who? Because no matter who you pick, you know they're going to fuck it up somehow. With the current shortlist that you could think of, most of them are just awful. And even if they're actually halfway decent, they're in so much debt right now, it's going to take a miracle to get out of this. Because, like, how would you come back from this? In just, what, 2 years? Before a must-win presidential election. That's the problem here. The RNC has problems, but money is not one of them. Yes, they have issues with enthusiasm and some other issues like that. That's true. But here's the thing, you can fix a lot of that. It takes time. You can come back from that. Being in this much financial shit, it takes a very long time to come back from this, especially with the current philosophy. Just take on more debt. Where's the money coming from? At this point, where? None of their big donors are giving them anything. And even their other groups, they are way behind Republicans in fundraising everywhere. Ken Martin is under particularly close scrutiny. He was subject of an internal human resources inquiry after throwing a phone in the direction of a young aide in early July. According to 5 sources who have direct knowledge of the situation. Wait, hold up, what? So Ken Martin now, he's not only garbage at his job, can't fundraise, is running a sinking ship. Apparently, he threw a phone at a young aide. Oh my gosh, you can't make this up. They have no money. They have a bunch of turmoil behind the scenes. They have nothing going their way. And it's unbelievable. It is insane that we are 3 to 4 months away from election day. And this is what Democrats have going for them. Nothing good. Democrats are going to try to spin this and say, it's actually a good thing. We've done this before. Does any of this sound even halfway decent? There is nothing here. There is nothing positive here. It's all a shit show. And Democrats, they better hurry up. They better realize, oh, wait a second. We are only 3 months away from election day. Maybe we should take this more seriously. Instead of saying, we've done this before, therefore it's going to help us this time. Okay, maybe in 2014 or 2018, fine, you did it 10 years ago. But is it ever a good thing to admit that you're in this much debt and you have to take up this much in loans just to pay off the current debts you got? You're just making things even worse. We're going to see what happens the next couple of months because the Democrat Party, they are currently a sinking ship. Financially, they're in deep shit. They have nothing. They have James Telrico raising a bunch of money, but at the same time burning through a lot of money to raise that money. And then you have the DNC. Has no money. They're broke. They're bankrupt. And their only strategy and source of raising money is taking on even more loans. Meanwhile, the GOP, they have hundreds of millions of dollars just sitting there. Just sitting there. They are waiting to use that money. And Democrats, they have this. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.